So, hey guys, welcome to the Fairy Tale Podcast. Sorry we're late. We had a couple of in-house questions regarding OTP manga that we wanted to ask first that we didn't necessarily feel like we should talk about on the air. Yeah, I'll be honest. First and foremost, I forgot one thing while we were behind the scenes. There should be a column of icons on your left. One of them will look like a briefcase, and it's to say Hangout Toolbar. So you want to click on that one, and then it'll say install it or whatever, and then you just click yes or install or whatever it's supposed to be. That way you can get one of these little things that we have right here, these lower thirds.
And it says like a briefcase.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a briefcase. It's got a wrench on it and quotation marks.
Mm.
It should be.
Yep, I see it.
Oh,
There we go.
And I
I'm
just
sorry,
accept,
guys.
I guess.
This is totally my fault.
you blew it. You were talking too much.
I blew it. No.
You were talking too much. I need to turn my phone on vibrate because otherwise it will get impossible at me.
So, like I see the options it's giving me. It says something about comment tracker, blah blah blah. Blah.
Okay, the first icon, the one that has the silhouette of a person in a circle.
Oh, and yeah.
And then your name, if you want to put a tagline under it, like our tagline is hashtag fairytale on Toonami. But you can put whatever you want up there, like hashtag Apple
Yeah.
Black.
I was gonna say, I'm
Or,
pretty sure that mine has our Crunchyroll thing on it.
Yeah. And then you just click the on-off button that's at the very top there.
Pretending
And
to be
that'll
a
actually,
Switch.
if you have a specific image you want to use for your logo. Oh, there you go. There it is. So, first and foremost, this is our guest. This is Whytmanga Sensei. Yes, he is serialized, so therefore, by Nizuma's logic, he is Sensei.
How does
Also-
that make you feel?
I feel weird.
But you're Sensei! If you haven't checked out his YouTube page, make sure to go and do that. For anybody who has ever been curious about making their own manga, whether you just kind of want to learn the style or whatever, or if you're actually wanting to learn more about the Manga Studio program, or just straight out you're just curious, go and check out his YouTube page. He puts up some really, really cool tutorials. In fact, we've been posting them throughout OTP Manga. Actually, we just
Almost exclusively.
I had to actually create a Facebook group for our artists and our editors because we were just doing Facebook messages, and I spammed the crap out of links to your
With
YouTube.
so many links.
So many links. I was like, you know what? No, I'm just
You
gonna
can't read
it's so much easier. But yeah, I was putting because like I said, I mentioned to you before that we have an artist that's trying to learn, trying to shift styles from like a more American traditional comic style over to a manga style, and I was like, well, this would definitely help, so I threw those tutorials out there. So yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I make the videos in the first place. So.
Yes, it is an interesting transition. Now we will have a few questions. Hopefully, it will only take about 10, maybe 15 minutes. Our major artist is actually unavailable. She's at a hotel with her folks right now because she just got on break from school. But she did ask 2 questions, but unfortunately they were questions I already knew the answer to, so I went ahead and asked them. But I'll go ahead and ask you. But I'll go ahead and ask you again. But since I thought these were really good questions to start off with. First and foremost, she wanted to know what programs you use for your pages, and if they do color as well, especially. Of course, you do color. I've seen that. And the process of making one page, like do you do a thumbnail first, rough sketches, etc., etc.
I get this question a lot.
I bet.
Yeah, normally, if I was making a page and the page is part of the story, I first have the story down, have the narration down, have all the dialogue down, because the dialogue usually helps me kind of be in the scene and kind of picture how how it should be viewed and some camera angles, whether it should be dynamic or should be simple, or the most effective camera angles to choose to do the storyboards. So from the script with the narration and the dialogue, I create the storyboard or thumbnail or name or whatever people call it these days. But the storyboard, and from the storyboard, I create the page, and I use the leader manga paper, type A, as B4 size, as comic book paper, and I use that paper. I sketch out the paper, so I use my ruler. I panel everything out. I know where the bubbles are going to be. I sketch everything out. If there's a background, use my rulers and have everything. I pencil everything out, and then I use the G pen and black ink, and I use my G pen, and I ink out all the characters and the bubbles. I use my brushes for the sound effects. For backgrounds, if they're very architecture-ish, whatever, I use a Sakura Micron inking pen and a ruler or French curves or whatever you use. Then I scan in, and I scan in. I put it into Manga Studio. I clean up all the dirt, in case maybe I mess up somewhere. It's really easy to clean up once everything is digital. And then I use Manga Studio to put in the tones and the gradients in the sky and fill in the blacks if I don't want to fill in the blacks while I'm inking, because one of the things about filling the blacks while you're inking is, well, you're losing ink, and it finishes. You have to buy all this stuff, and some of it is expensive. So I fill in the blacks and put in the tones and the gradients and all that in the computer. If it's a colored page, then I color using the Manga Studio 5. Sometimes, in very rare cases, I use Photoshop, but for the most part, I use Manga Studio 5. And after that's done, I review it, make sure there are no typos and stuff like that. Even though sometimes I might catch a million typos. Try to make sure if there's time, I make sure that there are no typos and make sure everything's clean. And boom, page.
Have you ever found a typo after it's already been released?
Ooh, a million times.
Okay. Do you fix it or do you just leave it?
I fix it.
Oh, good.
I've found like millions of typos, and when the volume one is going to be released, I'm trying to clean out all the typos, even typos that, and not just typos, but artistic errors. Maybe sometimes you might forget to tone something, and it's just white, and you see it later. But I make sure at the end of the day I fix it. Whether it's even digital, I fix it. But now that the volume 1 is coming out, I'm fixing everything, even things that I didn't even. I'm trying to. It's my first book, so I'm trying to make sure everything's perfect. So I'm even going back to things that were not necessarily errors, but I look at it and like, can this be better? And I make it better. So it's kind of like it almost feels like a new experience when you're reading the book, even if you've read it online already. So I guarantee that even if people have read chapter 1 to 3, if you read it now with the changes that I've made and I'm still making, because the book's coming out in December. But if you read it now with the changes I've made, it's very different, especially artistically.
Cool.
That's I know you said you use Microsoft Word when you're typing out your dialogue.
Yes. But one of the things, another cool tip I normally use to catch errors is just time. Sometimes that with Saturday AM, you're trying to reach deadlines and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And what I do sometimes, I use Microsoft Word. It's easy to catch typos there. But another thing I do, and this is a tip I got from one of the other artists on Saturday AM, and that's Raymond Brown, the creator of Bully Eater. And he said, sometimes he puts in the words in Google Translate and lets Google kind of speak and read it out loud.
Oh, yeah.
That way you can catch a lot more.
That's part of what I do in order to catch punctuation errors that I've made. Because what we do is we type our entire story out Not just it hasn't even before it's even hit script format. We've typed out the story, and I'll read it out loud, and because it's on a Google Doc that we're sharing with other people, it gets the editing streamline process gets hit pretty quickly because the other I have to have the other creative writers check it out to
Yeah,
make sure.
I have eyes on it. I do everything myself. Yeah.
I'm gonna say you've got just you.
Yeah.
It sounds like, which is just so impressive.
I don't even put it in. Since it's just me, you look at even for like movies and stuff like that, they have a script format with all the fade in and blah blah blah, establishing shot and all that stuff. I just type it out in Microsoft Word. I'm the only guy that's gonna see it anyway, so who cares?
So my one thing though is that I like that we have that safety net kind of because we have an editor who goes and checks for like discrepancies, and of course we've got anal retentive people with grammar. So I say that, but it's not a bad thing. I'm actually very.
I was gonna say that sounds like
I have a two-layer safety net because it has to go through Mira Jane here, and then it has to go through Master Makarov. So both of them will make sure that, and he'll actually he won't fix them. He'll like leave little comments about. Hey,
I do. I fix them.
I
I fix the grammar and the spelling.
He fixes the grammar and the spelling, and then he comes in and puts in comments and things like where it should be. We have a dialogue, but like I have to actually type out the action scenes that I'm seeing in my head, and I'm like severely ADHD. I can't hold still if I want to try and draw it out at all. Like I can't. I used to draw, but like I couldn't get anatomy right because my hand just shakes too much. So that's my big problem right there. Like sometimes people see me eating cereal and they wonder how the food stays on the spoon because I shake. But so it's that bad. But that's always been like the big challenge with me for drawing. I can see it in my head. I can kind of draw it out, but sometimes just typing it out and trying to explain what you see in your head is so frustrating when you just like to sit there and grab a pencil and just do it. But I also know that we have artists that are much better than what I could do, so I want to leave it to them. And also at the same time, I don't want to sit here and put in too much detail. I want them to have a little free reign with their imagination. So when it comes to storyboarding and deciding what to do with the panels and everything, it gives like they're able to take things that may be missing, or like when if we're overly dialogue heavy, being able to sum that up and make it a much more interesting manga. I like that process. So that's kind of where I'm going a bit with that, but having that buffer net with editors is definitely a plus. Do you work with an editor, or is it completely just you?
It is completely me. Completely me.
Saturday AM, get an editor. I know.
Yeah, I mean, 7 a.m. is we're fairly new, really new, so we don't have a lot of resources, but we do what we can.
I can recommend at least one editor. I know that I can do that, and he would be more than happy to help. Well, I think he'd be happy to help for multiple reasons. Number one, it'd be something that he actually enjoys doing because he does like doing. He does like actually do editing for any of the stuff that you type up. And secondly, he hates the job that he's currently at, so he would welcome.
Are you talking about Master?
Yes. He has, like, when he has to miss a show because of work, he has the best stuff he types in. Flying buckweasels is one of them. That
was one of my favorite expletives.
I'm like, he has the best expletives. But, all right, so we've been talking about it. Let's talk a bit about Apple Black. What is it about for those who are in the audience that may not know?
I would imagine that they don't.
I would very much imagine that they don't, but
we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, tell us a bit about it and what your characters and all sorts of stuff. Sure.
Apple Black is about a young boy, Santa, who is kind of given a lot on the shoulder at the moment, where he is kind of proclaimed by said group of prophets as this savior, and at the same time he's trying to figure out the mysteries about his father's demise. That's the basic gist, but it kind of takes place in an alternate universe where I like when I'm creating work, I like not just when I'm creating work, but at least when I'm creating Apple Black. The good thing, one of the things I like about Apple Black is, the setting of the world is kind of in a place where I can kind of get away with anything, and I can draw whatever I want. That kind of shonen universe where if I drew a pen and I call it a chair, well, it's a freaking chair.
As long as it's self-consistent, who cares?
Exactly. As long as I always call it.
Your physics might not match up with the real world, but if it's consistent throughout yours, who cares?
And it's I say it's a world about sorcery. So it's about sorcerers. So Santa's a sorcerer, and he's this powerful sorcerer blessed by the god of sorcery, Merlin, and he has this Merlin left arm called Erotus, and there are a lot of things. I mean, the hand didn't just come out of nowhere. There are a lot of storylines and keys behind what goes on inside AM, and behind the hand, and behind his father's demise that a mystery that he's trying to solve. And at the same time, he has a group of allies, kind of friends, and I like to think of him as the Breakfast Club of my comic. I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Breakfast Club. I was a big fan of
the Breakfast Club.
So yeah, and his friends also have their goals, but they have this one particular goal, which is to kind of make their world a better place, if a simple way to put it. And so they're all sorcerers, and there's a lot of action. I say it's really heavy in the shonen, and so there's the comedy and it has all the shonen elements, very heavily shonen inspired. It's also inspired by things other than manga. It's inspired by religion and other comics, cartoons, religion, movies. I'm really big into movies, and I love like movie twists and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have a lot of those in my comic. I'm a big fan of like Fight Club, Inception. And,
Fight Club is so good. Have you actually read the book?
No, I haven't read the book. I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
It's written so beautifully. It's a terrible book. It's a terrible, it makes you feel terrible. It's not a terrible book. It's really well written and all. But do you know? You know what I'm trying to say.
I can't remember the writer's name, but I know he came out with another book recently.
He's come out with a lot of books, and they all make you feel terrible.
Yeah. So
every single book I've read by Chuck Palahniuk.
Yeah.
I'm always like, I just need to go kill everyone in the world now because nobody's worth anything. Sorry.
So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of film, and a lot of movie directors like M. Night Shyamalan in the early days.
I was going to say, okay, hold on. Might have to end this now because I can't deal.
I like Sixth Sense and Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, those were so good.
I was going to say, if you were going to say that you liked the Avatar live action, we were going to have some issues.
We're also not going to discuss Fox Studios' Dragon Ball movie either. So that's
no. So I try to gather inspiration from a lot of places, but for the most part, it's very shonen inspired, and there are a lot of twists, a lot of cliffhangers, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of action, a lot of things. And that's Apple Black. Apple Black is kind of like Apple Black. Apple Black itself is kind of like the source. Black is the source of power, but Apple Black is a particular source of power, and the whole thing is that it's kind of like there's a mystery with how where sorcery began and stuff like that, and it's from like a tree. It's almost having some kind of reference to the Bible where with Eve and Adam and on the apple and all that. So the powers are from the fruits, and the fruits are from a particular tree, and the tree is kind of not a regular tree, and it's not, it doesn't even look like a tree. There are a lot of things that don't seem the way they should in the comic. But it's about sorcery, and their ancestors were the most powerful. But as generations go by, the effects of black in the bloodline, which is what makes them sorcerers, kind of diminishes. So they're also at a point where they're trying to rejuvenate, their powers and stuff like that. And that builds a lot of like conflict, with bad guys trying to do things, trying to get the apple black, which was something that Sano's father did a lot of research on, and hid his research before his demise.
I need to read this. I hate to admit that I haven't yet. I've been making my way through Naruto, but Natsu's been talking about it a lot, so it's on my list to read next, and I'm really excited. And I feel like maybe I need to take a break to read it first.
I love the fact that in about a week's time, she's gone through 10 years of Naruto manga. So I'm proud of her for
2 weeks.
Oh, you just started reading Naruto?
Like 2 weeks ago.
I'm not. Can you give me a second for my battery dies?
You know what? I started like 11 days ago. I started about the time that it finished.
Yeah, she started around after 700 ended. We were talking about Naruto, and she was like, "I want to understand what you guys are talking about, so I'm gonna read it." And she just got finished.
I will say. I mean, I'm not gonna judge because I'm like 200 chapters behind in Naruto.
I'm almost ahead of you.
And I haven't, till today, I have not watched one episode of Dragon Ball Z from beginning to end. So.
Oh, I haven't.
To be fair, there's usually like 5 minutes of each episode.
I know how we could fix this. I was gonna suggest it after the show, but screw it. I'll do it on the show. I'm gonna talk to some of my friends at AkaiCon, and we're gonna try and get you as a guest at AkaiCon this year.
Ooh, that would be fun.
We can have two characters there. We'll have Whytmanga and OTP both together. That'll be interesting. But yeah, we can get you. I'll talk to Devin after he's con chair.
This was totally random. I thought this was going to be a Dragon Ball comment, and it wasn't.
No. I was like, and by doing that, by having him here, I could just hand him a zip drive that has all the DBZ episodes.
I understand. I was like, I know that there was a connection somewhere, but I missed it.
Yeah.
But no, oh man, yeah, definitely got to watch the whole thing from start to finish.
Yeah, there are a lot of popular anime and manga that I haven't even touched.
Avoid.
You can call it research. It's fine.
Avoid GT.
How tight are your deadlines?
Avoid what?
What did you say, Natsu?
You say avoid what? You said you avoid something?
GT, Dragon Ball GT. Just avoid that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I like that one.
No, Akira Toriyama had nothing to do with Dragon Ball GT.
So I still like it.
It was created to promote a video game that they were releasing.
That's fine. There's still like the only line from the series that I can remember is from GT.
Yeah.
Like my sister and I quoted at each other all the time.
All right, you had a question.
Oh, I was gonna ask how tight his deadlines were because
that's a good question. Is it a weekly series? Is it a monthly series?
How often do you release a new chapter?
Right now there are 9 chapters out.
Okay.
And I don't release a chapter because if in a perfect world I'll have assistants and I'll be getting like a crap ton of money and I would do a lot of things and there'll be a lot on board schedule to take the brand to the next level, which we are at Saturday AM we are planning to do. But we release bi-weekly, so we release 2 issues a month.
Okay.
But I'm technically releasing a chapter a month. Because it's like split.
Okay.
So I release half of a chapter in an issue, and I release another half, in the next issue.
That's still
And
impressive. To
the
be
other
doing a
artists
full
on
chapter a month.
Saturday AM, yeah, all the other Saturday artists on Saturday AM, some even occasionally, yeah, some occasionally, put out a chapter, and sometimes the chapter has like a crap ton of pages, like 20, 30. The highest I've done is 60. I did do one time issue, but that's because I was not in the previous issue. So, so I kind of like took a whole month. I still released a chapter that month. It just came in one full issue. Um, and my chapters range anywhere from 16 pages to 30 pages, even though the first chapter was 50 pages. Except for the first chapter, everything else is like anywhere from 16 to 30.
Nice. That's impressive, especially since you're all by yourself. Do everything.
I've definitely noticed that with a serialized manga series, especially in like a big magazine like Shonen Jump, that when they release their first chapter, it's usually around 50 pages or so, and then the next chapter is like within 25 to 30, and then from there they hit the formula of like the 20 page formula that they normally do.
I mean, Naruto chapters are like 17 pages long.
Yeah, I think the Naruto chapter 1 though I think was like around 46 pages.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can find out real fast.
Well, Fairy Tail's first chapter was in the 80s.
53.
80s?
Yeah.
No, I'm not 80s.
No. The first Fairy Tail chapter had, I think.
Let us check.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the Naruto and even the Bleach, they're anywhere.
Naruto was 53 according to whatever oversight I'm on.
Was 53. Fairy Tail.
I feel like Fairy Tail was like exceptionally long.
Yeah.
Let me check.
That's just how much.
I think the reason is, for people reading the comics for the first time, it kind of like sets the tone for how the whole comics is going to feel, and some of them have some of them, while they may not be one shots, they do have some one shot elements because that first chapter is trying to pull the reader in and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely noticed.
And even sometimes, even before they have those 50-page chapters or anywhere from 40 to whatever. They usually have a one-shot. I don't know if you've ever read the Naruto one-shot or the one-shot, where it's not part of it. It's like it almost feels like a different story completely.
Yeah, it does. It really does. They released the one-shot to kind of gauge a reader's reaction as to whether they want to keep it or not, and then based on how much the readers like it, they'll decide if it should be serialized, and then they'll go and rewrite it for serialization.
Yes.
And that again, guys, watch Bakuman or read Bakuman. You'll understand these things. But just the process behind that.
Bakuman was actually really helpful. I made sure I read it before I even started on Apple Blood. I still haven't watched it. I just read it.
I've watched the really sad part is like Media Blasters grabbed it for license and distribution and dubbing in the U.S., but they only got through like the first 8 episodes and Media Blasters went under. So I've been petitioning at Funimation. We're Fairy Tail. We kind of work with Funimation a bit.
Yeah.
I've been petitioning at them. I was like, buy the rights to this series. It needs to come out. Oh, I could have run into my living room and picked up a copy.
And I had to pick it up because I was trying to do it on Crunchyroll. It was taking too long, and then I was like, hey, I actually have the first volume, though. Chapter 1, 7. Chapter 2 starts on page 89.
Yep.
So it's 82 pages long.
Because Mashima is a machine.
No, Kishimoto is a machine, dude.
Really?
Oda I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
Like that is.
I just mean that Mashima draws really quickly, though. Is what I meant by that.
We were saying that Oda is a master storyteller and Kishimoto is like a master artist. If the two of them ever like got together to do one story, it would just blow everybody's minds.
That would be awesome.
But what was really cool, and this is the spoiler-free part of it, because I'm telling you one little part about 700 that has nothing to do with the story, right? So as much as the One Piece fans and the Naruto fans give each other crap about the other series, the artists are actually really good friends. They're pals. So at the end of Naruto, on one of the Hokage faces is actually the Straw Hat pirate symbol.
Pirate flag.
From Luffy's pirate flag. And then as a giant love letter for the chapter that Kishimoto ended Naruto on, the entire front page, the first page that was put out for One Piece was a giant love letter to Naruto. Like, Nami had a dress that had the Konoha symbol.
Yeah, I saw that. And some people say behind Nami was Nami.
Behind Nami is actually Naruto, yeah. And he's eating the meat that Luffy usually eats while Luffy's
eating the ramen.
And to make things even funnier, the story about Luffy and his brothers Ace and Sabo, his quote-unquote brothers, Sabo was actually voiced by Junko Takeuchi, the Japanese voice actress who does Naruto, and Luffy actually introduced Sabo to ramen. So we were like, okay, Naruto's ramen addiction totally is all Luffy's fault.
Oh my god, I had to go buy ramen because I've just been craving it since I've been reading it.
It was like she's sitting here reading Naruto, and now she's craving ramen. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of any of you watch Breaking Bad or Walking Dead?
The Walking Dead, yes. Breaking Bad, not so much.
But one of the things with Walking Dead, there's this, there are a lot of rumors and speculation to how the disease started and stuff like that. And some people said, some people have this ridiculous rumor. Obviously, it's not true, but they threw some Easter eggs in there, and they said it was actually caused by the drug that the Breaking Bad character created.
That's cute.
And they threw in some things where, if you watch Breaking Bad, there was a time where, in the suburbs or whatever, the main character buys his son this really red fancy car. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was this really cool fancy car. And in Walking Dead, you see the same car with the same make, the same everything in the city, and they use it to maneuver through walkers or zombies. And the same in Walking Dead, there was a time where one of the characters, Daryl, was carrying his brother's drugs, and in the bag had, because in Breaking Bad he makes blue meth, so in the bag it had blue meth in the bag. So it was like little mini Easter eggs, kind of. Connect.
I think we just stumbled onto the reason that Epic Rap Battles of History did a Walter White versus Rick Grimes rap battle now.
Oh, that makes more sense. I was wondering why they did that.
Let's see. I guess I'll go ahead and plug them. I really wish that Travis was on so we could do this, but two of our members of the podcast who
you talk about this happening regardless of whether they're present or not.
You brought it up. I'm going to. So
I know.
Two of our podcast members have actually been in The Walking Dead as zombies. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I plugged that.
Zombie school. I heard people go to zombie school.
Yeah, he had. I think Travis had to. He's been all three different types of zombies, I believe. But
he has been.
Really cool. And he knows how to do all the makeup and stuff too. So it's interesting when he does the zombie stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. My last question that I have before I turn it over to the audience is basically, what were your big manga influences? Like, what series like really influenced you to come up with and create your own series?
When I first got into it, definitely Naruto and Bleach, and then eventually, Naruto, Bleach, and Rurouni Kenshin. And after those three, I wanted to, dive in more and find other really cool comics that could inspire me. Still haven't, over the years, I've watched more manga and watched more anime and read more manga. Added Full Metal to the list.
Technically, your manga reading habit can be classified as
research.
Exactly.
That's what he does.
That's what it is.
That's what I do.
I read it for entertainment value as well, but nowadays, even when I'm watching movies, I'm like trying to figure out why did the director or why they use this camera angle, what happened here, why did this twist work, why does this twist suck, stuff like that. But then I got really big into the seinen stuff, and
Hey, that's what ours is.
And I read Vagabond
Mm-hmm.
from Inoue Takehiko.
Yeah.
And I'm really big into One Punch Man now.
Oh, One Punch Man.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Oh.
Then Bakuman and Death Note. But
Death Note. Yeah, that is true seinen.
Death Note.
I think the biggest influence right now when it comes to manga, I'd say is Bleach and Gintama. Big Gintama fan.
Oh God! Why don't we have Doctor on?
Yeah, I think that's the funniest. That's the funniest anime ever. That's just my opinion. But
that's one that I also need to.
One of my actually.
So I'd say my biggest influence right now when it comes to manga, just manga, I'd say is One Punch Man.
Yeah.
One Punch Man.
One of my good friends in the podcasting community. He does. I don't know how he pulls this off. He does 3 different podcasts. He has the Ass Backwards Anime podcast, the One Podcast Prevails, which is a Detective Conan podcast, and the Just a Gintama podcast that they did.
I always forget about the Detective Conan one. Oh my god.
Yeah. And he does Just a Gintama podcast, and I love how he described Gintama to people. He goes, basically, if you had Rurouni Kenshin with aliens and a bunch of dick and fart jokes.
Yeah. That's why I feel I need to watch it, because I love Kenshin.
Gintama. Normally, for funny manga or anime, maybe One Piece or something like that. Maybe you chuckle a little bit. But I've watched a couple Gintama episodes, and I'm like, nah, it's just ridiculous. And it also has. It's not just comedy, obviously. It's not just the gags. There are some, I guess, like tearjerker scenes. And
there are. Yeah.
A lot of
not
great,
the feels.
a lot of great action too. And at the same time, it's so ridiculous because he's literally using a wooden sword to cut through, like iron and robots, and it's like.
Excuse me, what?
You completely overlook it, and it's so ridiculous, but it's so funny.
I might not be able to watch
Not to mention at the beginning of the very first arc, like they don't even start off well. Like they just throw you into this world for the first 3 episodes. That arc wraps up. After that arc wraps up, that's when they start going back into the past and introducing the characters. But the best part is at the end of that first arc, you see Genshin, the main character, sitting there reading a Shonen Jump magazine and going, man, I wish I had a Bankai. And it's like, oh my god.
It's basically a parody of every Shonen manga as well. It parodies everything.
Great.
I know episode 25, and you need to know the number of the episode. That's like one of my favorite episodes. It really, I think it touched Death Note, and it had to do with where they were trying to figure out who's gonna eat there was like, they're really poor, so they're trying to figure out who's gonna eat. They had a meal there, and it was all Death Note where they're thinking in the mind that, oh, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. I just thought it was really funny. Or even when they had a popularity poll episode, I thought it was.
Oh
really
yeah, what was the the Neo Armstrong Jet Armstrong Cyclone Cannon, and episode 208 where they had a Dragon Ball parody.
Yeah.
They've been on hiatus for 2 years, and Genshin looks like Yamcha. He's even got the scar Yamcha has. And then
absolutely ridiculous.
Kagura, who I love to death because it's the same voice actor that played Happy in Fairy Tail, same voice actress.
Yeah.
And she's teleporting everywhere saying, "You're too slow, Nappa." So she's basically being...
Amazing. Freaking Nappa.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's awesome, but to turn everything back around to full circle, you mentioned Kenshin at the beginning. Did you see the live-action Kenshin series yet? Have you seen it?
I saw the live action movie, the long
The first one.
Yes.
Okay, they've released 2 others, and the kid that plays Seijiro or Sojiro the
Sojiro?
tank, the little boy that has like almost no emotions and breaking his Sakamoto. All right, in the live action version, the actor for Kenshin and the actor for Sojiro have now been cast as Saiko and Shujin in the live action Bakuman.
I didn't even know it was live action Bakuman was coming.
Yeah, they've got a live action Bakuman coming. They released an image, a promotional image of the 2 of them, and they've got Shujin with his glasses sitting over Saiko, and he's sitting there drawing, and I'm like, oh, they look so good in character, like the colors are all good.
I even thought you were going to say Attack on Titan or something, because that's the one I heard about.
Oh no, I know about
Attack on Titan live action.
Yeah, there's an Attack on Titan live action that's happening.
Already?
Yeah, and I'm like, wow. But yeah, they've got a live action Bakuman coming out next year, or within the either 2015 or 2016. But man, like, as many fangirls as that guy had from just being Kenshin when he does Bakuman, it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Because this is a very, very realistic setting.
Yeah.
For Pokemon. It's not. I mean, in its own right, Kenshin has a realistic style, but it's historical. But there's a lot of
historical fiction.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fiction and fantasy that plays into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of I'm looking at you and now I've collapsed your lungs.
I know, right? What?
But Kenshin's so good!
I love Kenshin so much.
Why could they have not just animated the final arc like they should have? Oh.
What the hell was the last arc in the anime? It was so bad.
It was so bad. The final arc in the manga was so good. I have all 28 volumes in my living room. Kenshin is my...
I need to reread those next time I visit.
Kenshin is that series that everybody needs to have in their collection. Also, just random here. One of the assistants for Watanuki was Oda, and the
One Piece.
Yeah, the big fat puppet thing that they had in the second arc of the second season of the anime and the second arc of the manga. In the third arc, there's a bomb inside it, and Sano like kicks it or punches it or something. Out pops this bomb, and it's got the Straw Hat the Straw Hat pirate symbol on the bomb.
Yeah.
So, I need to read. Is it animated? Yeah.
No, not animated. It's in the manga. That's actually in the manga, and it was because Oda had
definitely need to reread Kenshin now.
Oda had just been accepted for serialization, so he put that in there.
Oh.
Definitely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of tie-ins, man. There's a lot of tie-ins to.
Everybody knows everybody over there.
Yeah.
They are. They really are really, really big fans, and I thought it was. Again, going into Bakuman, when they do like one-shots and stuff, they'll get rated by the artists as well for like Tezuka awards and stuff. Like the artists will give their critiques, and I think it was the Kanetochie. Yeah, the world is money and intelligence. The one that they turned in, and they were talking about the different artists that got. That reviewed their work, and it was Kishimoto Sensei, Toriyama Sensei, Oda Sensei, and I'm like, okay, so Dragon Ball's mangaka, One Piece's mangaka, Naruto's mangaka, Eye Shield 21's mangaka, and I'm just sitting there as I'm reading this going, I've seen that series, that series, that series, that series. I was like, holy crap, I know all of these mangaka.
Yeah.
Like, I know their series. And yeah, it was just, even though they call it Yueisha in the series, and even though they call it Shonen Jack, they use the actual manga names and the manga artists. So if you watch the show and you hear like different references, those things are real. You can go and check them out. Ashita no Joe or Tomorrow's Joe is actually a real boxing series that showed up in Shonen Jump. So it exists, and it's actually Motaka's favorite series. Yeah. Okay. Turning it over to the audience. I'm sure they've posted questions by now, hopefully.
There's one. My favorite thing is that at the beginning of this, I have like 10 or 15 minutes. Like we don't know you. Why did you even try to put a time limit on yourself?
Yeah, right? I thought I was gonna. Hey, I tried
No, you didn't. Don't lie.
and failed because we almost went 45.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, what? No, you didn't try. Okay, so there is a little bit of. I have issues with reading this one. I think what it's trying to say, he says, I guess my question, for even though he wants to be a future writer, not necessarily a mangaka, is what do you bring that is unique to the table in your manga? Or maybe advice to others? Or would you advise others to not always follow the obvious traits for a main character that's a guy or a girl, I guess, like a dense, oblivious, eats a lot, stuff like that. So it sounds like it's two questions, but it's phrased as one.
Okay, so it's like the first question is.
Let's see, what is unique to your manga? I guess is what they're. But you already talked about that. Never mind. I mean, you can answer what you think is unique. But
The whole apart from the whole idea of apart from the whole concept with sorcery and stuff like that, but there are certain things about my manga that I feel make it make it really stand out. Them being sorcerers. You know how it is in Harry Potter, and their wands are always this like little wooden stick.
Mm-hmm.
In my manga, almost anything could be a wand. There is a huge blade that's like a wand in the manga. There's a cigarette that's a wand in the manga.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's the Sano's arm, the Erotus arm, is a wand. So the whole arm is a wand. So the whole idea that almost anything can be a wand, and it kind of amplifies the user's power. It's kind of a play on sorcerers and wizards and stuff like that. It's also inspired by, like I said, religion. There is a concept within the comic that's called Nirvana, and you don't really know about it until like chapter 4, which is where it ends. The only 3 chapters are from like 1 to 3, but from 4 and above, that's when you learn. From 4 and above, you learn a whole lot more about the things. The way they fight, and their powers and wands and stuff like that. And the whole Nirvana concept is from Buddhism, and it's it kind of plays on being enlightened and stuff like that. And there's a way I use it in the manga where it can be applied to anything, and it can be applied to like fighting, because the whole Nirvana thing is almost like an alternate realm. And in Buddhism, it has to do with like Nirvana is kind of like heaven. So when you're enlightened, it's kind of like where you go when you die or something like that before you get reincarnated. I know it's all complicated and stuff, but that's the basic gist. And it kind of applies to the fighting and the comic. And I say it's a little similar to how it is in say a Naruto, say maybe a Genjutsu kind of illusion kind of thing, or the Sharingan and stuff like that. But it's not. It's still very different from it. It's even, I say, more similar to Bleach, where he's in that world where he's talking to his sword, his Zanpakuto and stuff like that. But at the same time, in the comic, the Nirvana is not just used. They have a fighting system, and the Nirvana adds to that. But the Nirvana is also used for other things in that world, where it's used for training simulations. It's used for a lot of things, and it's also used as like a internet kind of thing. So there's almost like internet in my manga, and it's
neat.
So they have like websites and stuff like that. So there's some funny characters that are really social network heavy and stuff like that. So just one of the things that I feel really makes the comic stand out.
So I think that makes it unique. Let's see, what was the other half of the question?
Another part of things that can get difficult, because we tried doing this earlier with a shoujo we were thinking about working on, was it was kind of a very slice of life manga as well. So you have it based so much in our particular type of reality that I don't really like. I was trying to figure out what should we incorporate, what shouldn't we. So there's always that element, whether you're doing a slice of life manga or you're doing a full-blown fantasy. It's like, what things do we take from our world and put into it, and what new kind of things do we do we put into this world to make it seem different? And with our version that we're doing, that's got different universes and different parallel universes out there. Like you have
Anything
to
is game.
every time we go to a new planet, the writers, we have to all get together and figure out, okay, what do the inhabitants of this planet look like? What's their culture like? We go into serious detail about like how stuff is made.
The third of us that
When
isn't here is really, really good at that.
Yeah, and
There's
the
a lot of games.
it's
The 1/3 that's missing is the best at that, and we'll sit down and discuss that. Even though we know a lot of this isn't going to go into the actual manga itself, but every time we're creating a new world, we have to figure out that civilization. So that's usually always a difficult thing, especially. I think we kind of nailed our foot to the floor on doing parallel universes and having to create so many every different time and every different place. But it's still a lot of fun, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can play with in that too. Mm-hmm. So it's not like if you have to go save a princess, it's not your traditional Zelda adventure. Let's go rescue the princess. Like it can be it can take that idea and that concept, and now how do we twist this whole thing around to where it looks new?
Yeah. World building and. Yeah, and I also do that in the comic where it's kind of divided into a certain like 6 countries in Eden and stuff like that, and each country has its own feel. So they're inspired by cultures and experiences that I have come across, or any traditions that I find interesting and stuff like that. I go through the same thing, creating the worlds and having to think about everything. In that country, in that world.
But the cool thing is you can build that up over time, slowly but surely.
Yes.
Keep building your world slowly over time, as opposed to having to do one-shot arc sometimes.
Yeah, even though one thing where in Apple Black, how I said, it's kind of like a tree, and everything is, as generations go by, the black and the bloodline diminishes and stuff like that. But there are other things where there have been people that have been so affected by the sorcery, it kind of like has altered the way they look. Some people may look like aliens. I have like a talking flower in the comic.
Cool.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, and I kind of use it in a similar. I have a talking flower. I have like flower people, but I also have like a talking flower kind of communication system, kind of similar to how the snails are in One Piece.
The Denden Mushi in One Piece.
Yeah, kind of similar to that. But
he's got a Groot. He has a Groot.
Amazing.
Kind of like where the sorcery has kind of affected people to the point where some of them have become mutants and affected plants and affected animals to, even create, kind of evolve them in a way. So, I've had to think about all these things. And there are parts of the countries, some countries that have to think that, okay, maybe this country is really heavily evolved, and, maybe the people will look like aliens or elves. So, it allows me to play with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the second half of the question is mostly getting at like traits for characters. Like, how did you decide what was necessary for your characters? Since it is sort of you said it's a shonen sort of feel, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the stereotypical shonen like main character traits, like they're always kind of dumb or oblivious, or they eat a lot, or other stuff like that. Like, how did you decide what was like if you wanted to?
Yeah, even though the comic was heavily, really shonen heavy, I did try to stay. I did try to make my characters behave a certain way to where what they do and how they behave really makes them original and refreshing. I think my main character, even though he may have maybe a few things that make him likable that are similar to other main characters and stuff like that. There are a lot of layers to my main character Sano, who is very, very observant.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, he's not good, but he's oblivious to some things where he can still like get lost or stuff like that. He's still a funny character, but he's not. I say he's goofy a little bit, but he's not like He's not like Luffy or like a Naruto. There's a layer to him that's serious and very observant, to the point where looking at him at first glance, you might not get that. But he's kind of like, I say he's more similar to say Kenshin, but at the same time not the same.
Yes.
Like you might see a side of him that's very playful, but at the same time, there's a really serious side to him. But it's not this. The execution of the characters is I think different from any other, and I think that you can actually do a lot of things that maybe other comics may have done, but it comes down to your execution and how people connect to the character, and certain things they make them stand out. So when creating characters, especially if they're going to be around each other a lot, I like to make characters kind of bring out the character in the other, kind of brings out the life in the other. So if I'm pairing up two characters, I probably have like you hear about the straight man and the I forgot what the funny man or whatever, but something that kind of brings out the best in the other character. It may not be the straight man, the funny man. I'm just using that as an example, but creating characters, how they should. Sometimes I take risks. Sometimes I may not exactly know where I'm going with the character. Not that I don't know where I'm going with the character, but like how the character should be. Even even down to design. Sometimes this comes down to risk, or maybe sometimes I even have an idea that I've had years ago for a character, and whether it be design or maybe something about how it behaves, and I try to bring it to life now and see how. Kind of allow that, see how he would play well with the setting. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And this is part of the work that goes into the writing and character development and stuff like that. But I would stay away from creating characters that have no substance and just have the typical shonen element, shonen traits to them, where they don't really have any substance to them, or no character development is going to be made or anything like that. And I try to execute the character in a way that he stays original.
Yeah, you want to.
I like that.
You definitely want to make sure that your characters fall into certain kind of styles that people will recognize, but at the same time, you don't want them to be all trope and no depth.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious, that would be terrible if you just had like a cookie cutter character. It's like, this is a shonen character. Have it.
Basically, don't do what Hollywood does when they get a hold of manga thing.
When they get a hold of anything, almost. Let's be real.
At least Disney has enough sense to let Marvel do their own thing.
Yeah. We don't want Mickey Mouse and Wolverine comic.
I'm sure Wolverine would eat Mickey Mouse.
No. Mickey Mouse and Wolverine can be together if they do a Deadpool movie right.
That's true.
I'm still waiting on that Deadpool movie.
I know, we all are.
Really enjoyed the test footage.
I love that
test footage.
Test footage that they released. That was hilarious. Because it's 100% Deadpool. Because it's the car's flipping over, and he actually has a crayon drawing of him cutting this guy's head off, which is good.
If they actually pull it off, they'll actually change a lot of stuff. He probably wouldn't wear that suit, and I'm still afraid they'll mess it up, but
If they're gonna do it, it has to be a hard rated R movie.
Yeah.
That's the only way you could truly do it right. And let's face it, when we say that Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, we're not just talking about American stuff either. He breaks the fourth wall at a bunch of stuff. He has randomly said, "Because I want to become the Hokage," in a comic. And everybody's just like, "Wait, nobody understands what the hell you're saying." And I'm like, "Nartards do."
Yeah.
We totally understand. Deadpool is just.
That's one of my. It's kind of funny. He's actually, I like to think he's one of my favorite Marvel characters, but it's funny that he's a parody of a DC character, and
Yeah,
he's way more
parody of
popular than the DC character.
he's a parody of Deathstroke, and there's not nearly as many fans of Deathstroke as there are of
No.
Ah. Do we have any more questions? We had like 7 viewers at one point. Now I think we're down to 4.
We have 4
Yeah.
right now. We don't have any other questions from the audience, and I feel like you asked any that I would have wanted to.
Okay, my bad.
That's fine.
I mean, I've got more questions. I was just trying to let the rest.
I mean, I asked if anybody had any other questions, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
please, guys, post your questions. I'll
Keep talking.
So okay, you've got a physical copy of Volume 1 coming out. Who's that getting published through?
It will be it's just gonna be on Amazon CreateSpace, and so it'll be available online. But it's gonna be we're presenting it as the first volume or first tank or tankabon in the new line, the new Saturday AM line called Saturday Tanks, and there's a link to that on the site and stuff like that. That's on the Saturday AM site, which is saturday-am.com/tanks. So yeah, that's it's what it is. It's going to be online on CreateSpace, and it will be available for everyone.
Also, have you started creating designs for like merchandise or anything like that? I was just curious because I was like, I'll buy a shirt. I will happily buy a shirt.
On the Saturday AM site, there's a shop section, and it has Apple Black posters. It has Apple Black shirts, but not just Apple Black. It has merchandise for all the other titles on Saturday AM. So there are shirts and there are posters. I know a couple people. Well, I don't know how many. I don't know exactly how many people bought a poster, but I know there was a guy who bought a poster and took a picture of it, and it's on his wall. A couple people have taken the images offline, from the internet and had them as maybe wallpapers or even wallpaper for an iPhone. I saw that as well. Yeah. And but yeah, there are T-shirts, and they're available on the site, Saturday-am.com.
So when y'all get wall scrolls printed out, I'll make sure I have one. I may replace Gaara because Naruto's over, but I'll put one. It'll be a big Apple Black wall scroll right back here.
Oh my God! You have your glove on? I didn't notice until just now.
I have it.
Ridiculous. So are you one of the creators of Saturday AM? You keep talking about it as we, or are they just somebody that you work with?
It's more like a we. I'm one of the founders.
Founders. That's what I meant, because I guess creator is the wrong word. Founder of Saturday AM.
I'm not. I say like a co-founder, but there is the founder of Saturday AM, and that's Frederick L. Jones. All the details will be on the site. He's the main founder of Saturday AM, and I
think he's also the one that runs their Twitter.
What?
Yeah, I just haven't spent a lot of time yet.
I think he's also the one that runs runs the Twitter for Saturday AM.
Yes, he's the one that runs the Twitter for Saturday AM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just haven't spent a lot of time looking around the sites yet because I have been at work and reading.
Okay, that was interesting.
That was fair.
Okay.
You joined for a second, but you were already here, and you're not frozen.
You have a twin? What is this?
I have a clone. I have a clone making comics. I have someone working on Chapter 10 right now.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I wish I had clones. I really do wish I had clones.
You could have assistants.
Yep. And I don't even need to tell them what to do.
They just know.
They just know. So yeah, that's creating the book basically will be out December 15th, and at least shoot for December 15th, and the volume 1 will have 250 pages.
Whoa.
Well, it's going to be like 236 pages of actual manga, but have all these extra pages of like
Oh, I
posters.
guess that's not that much bigger than this.
Yeah, it's going to have like extra artwork and I recently did a popularity poll where people could, just for fun, for the fans, while they wait, but a popularity poll of their favorite characters that have appeared in the comic this year. And just for 2014, and it's gotten I think I've gotten over 100 votes, and people are voting for. Obviously, the main character was number one, but you'd be surprised how all the other characters are closer. And I like the poll because it kind of gives me an idea of who the characters are, who the audience rooting for. Even though it wouldn't really change much. It's not like I'm gonna start alter the comic to where certain characters get a lot more screen time. But it's kind of like a fun thing where people can vote. And that did pretty well. It makes me feel excited. Maybe when the book comes out, a couple people, at least I know a couple people are gonna get it. So it's one of the fun things.
I've seen a lot of other shonen series do that as well. Like when Naruto started out with Itachi, like Itachi was like pretty low ranked, and as it got further and more of Itachi's backstory slowly got explained.
I love him.
He jumped so far in the popularity list.
Yeah, everybody. I definitely Itachi is one of my favorite characters from Naruto. And shockingly, even though this might not be a popular answer, but I was a big fan of Deidara as well.
Deidara bugs me.
I don't know if you could tell who my favorite character in Naruto is, but
Deidara's verbal tick bugged me. Deidara himself was hilarious, but his verbal tick
just ends everything with
That was fine, but the first few chapters when I met him, the translators chose to translate it as yeah instead of and I was just like, I can't deal with you ending everything with yeah. But then they switched, and it was fine. But like before that, I was just like,
with the arc with Gaara and stuff like that, and then the fight with Sasuke was where I really liked the character. But I can't really tell what it was, if I really like the character or it's my hatred for the Sasuke character.
Oh my God, Sasuke's such a little bitch.
My favorite character is Gaara, and I kind of fell in love with that character. I started liking that character with the fight between Rock Lee and Neji, or not Rock Lee and Neji, Rock Lee and Gaara.
I was gonna say, excuse me.
And then getting Gaara's backstory when he fought with Naruto. Oh, I fell in love with that character so much more. And then when Shippuden started out finding out he's the Kazekage, that just kind of sealed it for me. I was like, oh, it's so cool to see you turn from what you were to being a good guy.
Naruto is magical, and everybody who ever comes in contact with him ever.
Yeah, I totally like my worst characters on the show are definitely Sasuke and Sakura. I don't know why. I just do not like those guys. Especially, I'm not a fan.
I've said that I've said this several times, and I will repeat this until the day I die. Kishimoto was really, really weak at writing female characters in that series.
His female characters are almost as likable as Sasuke because they're so weak.
Like what?
I like them because they're not terrible. They're not assholes.
The whole Zabuza arc where Naruto and Sasuke are clearly getting hurt, and she's literally just there, and
she's hanging out.
Sasuke this, Sasuke that, are you okay? And Naruto's getting his ass beat. I was just so pissed. I was like, what?
Care for both of them.
And then he finally decided to give her a moment to actually step up. He was like, "This is how things are going to be. How things are going to be from now on." And she actually beats Sasori.
Well,
one of the Akatsuki members takes him down. And then it's like he completely just forgot about Sakura. And I'm like, come on, you made this character so cool. Yeah. Bring her in more. Make her more involved.
I will say that
I understand that Sasuke is more or less his chosen one, and Naruto has the nine tails. But dude, she can do some growth.
Character development. Yeah.
Right? It's like all that development just disappeared.
Right, except for her usefulness as a medical ninja. I will say, though, that he does write/draw some really, really epic fight scenes.
Yeah.
And, like, just battles. Like, they're always just cataclysmic, and you're like, how is the world not just in pieces everywhere?
That's why I'm sitting here saying, if Oda just did the writing and Kishi did the art, it would be amazing. Because Oda can write strong.
Have you read One Punch Man?
Huh? One Punch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The art on One Punch Man is
Is it really good or really terrible?
I know that feel.
I think it's for shonen manga. It's one of the greatest I've ever seen in my life.
Whoa.
The artwork is like sometimes it actually looks real. It's like wait, the eyes give it away for it being manga, but even his color pages and the pages where he draws backgrounds are just ridiculous. There is a page, literally a double spread of like 6 double spreads in a row of it was basically an animation. So he's like maybe drawing. He drew like a how do I put this? It's like a meteor about to hit Earth. So you see the meteor, at one shot, and then you flip the next double spread, it's moving, and the next double spread is moving. But the detail is ridiculous, and he does that a lot in the comic where it almost feels like keyframes of an animation.
Whoa.
The artwork is so ridiculous, and there are probably some AMVs or something like that on YouTube, but the art blows anything, or in my opinion at least, blows anything else on Shonen Jump away.
All right.
Easily.
So after I read your series, after Naruto, we're gonna try that one.
Well, One Punch Man is really early. I think it's just like 40 chapters in. But the artwork is ridiculous.
It's not finished. I don't like to start things that aren't finished. I don't like waiting.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta deal with it like the rest of us.
No. I'm struggling up with.
Do you have
one series?
Stuff we were when we found out that they were only halfway through the Grand Line after 12 years?
Seriously, I don't want to read that now. Like, I don't like to not be finished. Like, waiting.
One Piece
is just, you know what? Just forget about reading the story. Just look at the art.
Look at the pictures.
Just look at the pictures.
Look at the pretty pictures.
Pretty pictures. I will definitely. I'll read it. I'll be fine.
Pretty pictures.
I'm really bad about waiting.
Oh, man.
Sounds like the other one.
Well, I will admit that if it comes to waiting, One Punch Man is the worst. It can go like a month.
No, I will debate you on that one. When it comes to waiting, the worst is Hunter x Hunter.
Well, I don't watch or read Hunter x Hunter.
Okay, it's done by the same guy that did Yu Yu Hakusho, Yoshihiro Togashi.
Yeah.
Togashi is the mangaka for that, who oddly enough is married to Naoko Takeuchi, who did Sailor Moon.
Oh.
But yeah, and
I'll give birth to some artist babies.
Yeah. So what's really, really funny about this is Togashi goes on hiatus a lot, and he can get away with it because he did Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
And so that's the most frustrating thing for those of us who read Hunter x Hunter, because he'll go on hiatus for 6 months to maybe a year,
that's terrible.
and then come back and start some more, and we're like, damn it! And I forgot what happened. You can't help it because the manga is really, really good.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here. Sorry, he's on hiatus.
It's like, well, I don't know about Hunter x Hunter, but
Hunter x Hunter is the worst for going on.
One of the reasons I don't know personally, but I think one of the reasons why I say One Punch Man probably gets. I don't say it gets on hiatus, but it takes us really random breaks once in a while. And I feel like it's because of the art. Maybe I just think he's trying to overdraw, and it just takes too long because the art is just too good to be it can't be weekly. That arc, 20 pages, I don't care how many assistants you have.
It's not weekly. Not possible.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely, a wait a lot. So sometimes I make sure I just don't read for a while, and hopefully when I come back, you probably have
There'll be new stuff. I
Yeah.
kind of do that with
It's
some of the series that I.
kind of the same thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's the mangaka's fault because of how it's released here, but Ace of Diamond or Diamond no Ace is a series that I'm big into. It's God, why is it always the sports manga? But it's a baseball series, and it's really, really good and engaging and interesting. But the people that release it, they only release it by volume. So I've had to wait 2 months for the next chapter, and I'm sitting here going, no.
That's
watching
kind of
the
how
anime.
Princess Jellyfish is.
I'm
It
watching
comes
the
out
anime on
like
Crunchyroll, and it is amazing. Oh, I love it.
I just baseball is so boring.
Well, hey, from the whole thing of like me actually having played baseball as a child, there's that nostalgic portion to it. Plus, what you're actually like, it's a manga. It can't be like if you want to write the story and tell these characters and like explain the story of these characters and stuff like that, it can't be boring.
Right.
This is
I mean, I would imagine that the manga is better than baseball itself. I can't watch baseball. I just get bored.
Yeah,
you can't watch it on the All right, look, don't watch baseball on television.
The highlights are fine. Yeah, I like going to the games, but I don't watch them. I hang out with the people that are there with.
I mean, if the Cubs are playing and I'm at one of their games, I'll watch the game. But like, baseball in Japan is so different than how it is here.
That's true. It is a very big deal.
They have different customs. Like, if your team is up to bat, even if you're watching it on television at a bar, when your team is up to bat, everybody's quiet.
That's weird.
When they go on defense, like you don't even eat. You don't even eat while your team is up to bat.
Really?
But when they go to the field, yeah, I learned this from watching the food guy that goes traveling around all over the place. Anthony Bourdain. He went to Osaka, and Osaka is well known for their food in Japan. But anyway, he went there and he was at kind of like a sports bar kind of thing, and they were telling him about these different traditions that they have because they were watching the Osaka Tigers play against the Tokyo Giants. And like my dad and I were sitting there watching it. We were like, we need to go to Osaka. Look at that food. Like,
I don't know much. I don't know much about basketball. Baseball. But I'm more of a soccer guy.
Yeah.
And then like when Slam Dunk came out, the manga and the anime for Slam Dunk came out, it started this huge boom in Japan for basketball.
Yeah.
Like not just manga wise, I mean actually people got into basketball in the sports clubs and basketball became a big thing in Japan. So manga really does have a giant impact on their culture. It really does. It is a very cultural feel to it.
I'd imagine.
Not to mention, I can't go to a single con without seeing at least 5 Kuroko no basket players. So Kuroko's basketball and Prince of Tennis as well. Sports manga are surprisingly popular.
There's a volleyball one, right? Haikyuu.
There is.
Yeah, there is a volleyball one. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, for goodness sake, we have one. Kari no Go. We've got. There's a manga about Go. You know the.
The chess-ish game.
Yes, there's a manga about that. This kid is possessed by like a master who is a ghost. Yeah, a former master who died and is a ghost. He possesses.
I have a manga with swimming.
Free.
Yeah, or even wine tasting.
Wine tasting.
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, no,
literally every topic is open for manga.
They have manga for every different walk of life over there. There's slice of life, a lot of slice of life manga for housewives. Like seriously, they have manga for everything.
Oh, you said there's I don't understand what my husband is saying or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's slice of life. It's a tiny little short 3-minute episode series that is on Crunchyroll right now.
Ooh.
called I Don't Understand What My Husband Is Saying, and it's basically this girl married an otaku, right? And she doesn't understand half of what's being said. And I love that the opening scene is them getting married, and they're both kind of like, what are we doing here? And he goes, I don't think I can make you happy. And the wife is like, I think this is a woman's happiness. And then, like, there are references to everything, because at one point in time, he's sitting there at the computer, she says something, he gets ultra serious, and then he has Kenshin's cross-shaped scar on his face all of a sudden. It's like, there are stills to everything. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Oh, it's super cute and adorable, but it's definitely slice of life manga. Yeah. They go on their honeymoon, and they don't go out on the beach, and he looks at his wife and he goes, "That's sad. I really wanted to see you in your swimsuit." So she went and put her swimsuit on and modeled it for him, and then the text, the screen just goes black, and it has a line of text in Japanese that said, "And then they had lots of sex." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, most anime they allude to it. Most anime they allude to it. This one just went ahead and said, "Yep, they smashed."
Yeah.
I was like, that's very funny.
It kind of. You remember the Gintama episode where he just woke up with a baby?
Yes! Oh my god! And it had the same kind of hair that he did, so everybody thought it was his, and he's like, but it's not mine! And he's sitting here trying to convince people that it's not his.
The baby really looked like
Oh, the baby really looked like him.
And acted like him, too.
And all I could hear in my head was that Dave Chappelle skit. You ever been accused of having sex with someone that you didn't have sex with? That shit is infuriating. And I'm like, that's that whole good drama episode. That's like that entire arc right there. It's like, I didn't do it. Please believe me.
Yeah.
Like everybody is sitting there like, that's your baby. How dare you?
Yeah.
Oh God, I still say probably one of my favorite relationship dynamics in there is God, I can't remember her name right now, but the chick with the glasses that has an SM fetish.
Oh, Saratobi.
Yeah, she's the one that I find to be like that. The dynamic between her and Gen are just absolutely hilarious. Because she's like super in love with him.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't even give her the time of day, and she's always eating like natto, which is nasty.
There's like a love triangle in there, because there's this blonde chick too, and there's
and it's got some of the best voiceover actors in this series too, because like what's his name, the second in command of the Shinsengumi is voiced by the same guy that does Zoro.
I like the dynamic with him too. He's always trying to kill his lieutenant.
And he puts mayonnaise on everything.
Oh no, okay, yeah, you're talking about the Hijikata guy. Oh yeah,
Hijikata.
He puts mayonnaise on.
I'm not talking about Okubo. Okubo's the little kid that's always trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And he's hilarious.
I also like the dynamic with the Katsura guy and the Elizabeth.
Oh, that reminds me. Hang on. Since we're talking about it.
That was kind of weird because you haven't watched Gintama, right? You're missing out.
I haven't watched it. I need to, but it sounds hilarious, and the issue here is that I'm trying to catch up on like 7 years worth of being silly. I used to watch manga, not watch manga. Good job. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
So I used to watch anime in high school, and then I just stopped for like 7 years during high school, during college. God, I can't talk. Stopped for like 7 years during college because I presumably had an aneurysm or something. I don't know. And I just recently started getting back on the train.
Mm.
So I've got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I watch a couple. Oh yeah.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, the one that instead of actually using his sword, he's always got a badminton racket.
Oh, Yamazaki.
Yeah, I think that's his name.
I can't remember, man, but I know that he kind of goes on. They always put him on like spy missions.
Yeah, and yeah, Doctor got me this. I was really happy about that.
Oh, yeah, the dog that kind of bites everything.
Yeah, he bites everything, and I love that this is like Kagura's more or less pet, and
Yeah.
she just rides him all the time.
Basically, the mascot of the show.
He is the mascot of the show. All right. To better explain, Caitlin, look.
I'm listening.
Well, you have to see. Okay,
Oh,
so
my
the
God, it's so
dog,
cute.
the dog who's this big. This is the dog from Gintama.
It's
The
so
characters come up to about here on him. He's that big.
cute. He's like Clifford, only not red.
Only not red. But the characters are like this, and he always bites Gin-chan on the head.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's
And
very
he
funny.
bleeds. And then he bleeds.
And then he bleeds. Yeah. I freaking love Gintama, man.
Yeah,
If I had pain from Konoha Corner on here, we'd be talking Gintama the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have any more questions?
Not from the audience, no. Not from our guildmates in the comments.
All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so I guess we'll wrap things up. We've been on here for an hour and a half. We fooled around long enough. But thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Actually, we're happy to finally have our first manga artist on the show.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot more. It's much more difficult to try and get the ones from Japan on.
Obviously.
It'll be a very, very expensive endeavor to get Hiro Mashima on the Fairy Tale podcast.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
and whoever on the podcast misses that episode is going to be ridiculed beyond belief.
They will hate themselves for the rest of ever.
And if you miss it live, if you're one of the audience that misses it live, you will hate yourself. We don't have to do it for you. You will already be taking care of it for us. But no, that would, like, we'd have to get to insanely popular status to be able to get that one.
You know, I also don't know if he even has that kind of 2 hours to spare.
I don't even think I think it'd be like a 30-minute thing.
Right.
That's what it would be. It's like, here's our question. Okay, translator sitting off camera as he says it. I think my first question, because he's a huge gamer, would be like, what game are you playing right now?
Will you play with me?
Yeah. No, seriously, he plays games like Gears of War and stuff like that on his Xbox and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god. I want to play video games with this man. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us. I definitely want to have you back on again when we have more of the crew who's able to jump on, and maybe they'll have other questions for you and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Guys, I hope you check this out later. If you leave questions, we'll try and tweet at him and see if he can answer some questions. But definitely check out his YouTube channel again, man. He puts a lot of awesome tutorials up. So if
also his series.
Awesome. Well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Hold on. That's going to be the last thing. I want that to be the last thing I remember. Because I'm Kuwabara and I've got a sword. But, that was the voice I was technically in at the moment. Yeah. Kuwabara. Yeah.
Please stand by. We're experiencing technical difficulties. No, we're not.
No, we're not. I'm not experiencing technical difficulties.
That's what YouTube is telling me when I refresh the video.
What?
I know, right?
Wait. Okay, hold on. Let me fix this. They do that.
I don't know. It was fine, and then I refreshed it to make sure we didn't have any extra questions right as you started the sign-off, and now it says we're having technical difficulties, and I think it's lying to me.
It's saying that on my side, too. It is saying that on my side. I don't know why.
Well,
YouTube's having
regardless,
issues.
we still don't have any new questions, so we can just...
Yeah.
Well, that was neat. How long has it been doing that?
It's gotta have. I checked it at 1:24, and then you started the sign off, and it was so it's like right as the sign off was starting.
Oh, so okay, so the majority of the actual interview didn't. Make
the whole everything looks like it was fine up until you were like, "We're leaving, goodbye." No, we're not.
Leaving, goodbye. Okay, so because hopefully this part will not be glossed over later. When it goes back up on
the links are in the
part
description.
Yeah, I did put links to
and I put them in the comments too.
Yeah, I do have links in the description to not only your YouTube page but also to your series on Saturday AM and all that stuff. I made sure to at least get those taken care of.
Yeah.
So the correct promotion was installed. Yes. All right. Installed? Really? God.
Oh, there it goes. Now it's back.
I can't word today. So okay. So welcome back. We don't even know why there were technical difficulties on YouTube. We were broadcasting as per normal, but maybe we took the blue pill this time. Maybe that's what happened. Hey, I can make Matrix references if I want to. Matrix, yes, proof that if you actually have people that know what they're doing, you can make a live-action anime pretty damn well. All right, so thank you so much for coming back on. You can check out his YouTube channel. Just type in Whytmanga. He's got amazing tutorials for people who want to draw manga style or want to work in manga studio. Just some really good advice all over the place. And of course, check out his series Apple Black, available on Saturday-am.com. I got that correct, right?
Yep.
Woohoo! Woohoo! All right, and make sure to contact him on Twitter. Subscribe to him on YouTube. Follow him on Twitter. Whytmanga at Whytmanga on Twitter. WHYT. It's really simple.
Thanks for
Not the color white. It's just. I'm not explaining. Moving on. So. I'm reeling off, and the brain is just like, say this, say that, no. But again, guys, if you want to ask some questions, if you didn't get on for the live show, you can ask them, and I'll send him tweets, and we can answer your questions that way. And we will answer your questions on Monday's live show. We'll go ahead and cover those, kind of like how we did with Todd's interview the other 2 weeks ago. So again, thank you so much for coming on, and that is it for us. I'm Natsu Dragneel, the fake one from the podcast. That's Mira Jane, also the fake one from the podcast. We're not actually the voice actors, but we would like to get paid. You know, that'd be nice. Share some of that Funimation money. No. Funimation is now going to disown us. Yes. All right. But no, thank you guys for checking it out. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you learned a lot, even though we were goofing around and geeking out about manga. But hey, that's what's really cool about not just this podcast, but the fan base. You know, we have more than one manga that we really like, and hopefully we geeked out about stuff that you guys enjoy as well. So, yeah, leave comments. Let us know what you think about some of the random stuff we talked about. Are you a fan of Gintama? Have you checked out Bakuman? Check out Bakuman.
Bakuman
But most importantly, check out Apple Black.
Yes, that's the most important one.
Point, Cameron.
most important manga.
Judgment Llama is judging you.
No,
But,
we don't have a Judgment Llama.
We do now. We have Judgment Llama. All right. That is it for us, guys. Thank you so much. Good night.